Hello there, welcome to Talking Balearics with me, Martin Makepeace, in a very beautiful Ibiza.
And likewise, me, Richie Pryor, in a very beautiful Mallorca. How are you?
Listen, Richie, I'm concerned for you. Tell me about this accident.
Oh, God.
God almighty, what happened, pal?
Well, I don't know if you know, but I was preparing for something called the 6 Points Challenges, which is a charity bike ride from the south of the island. You touch the most southerly, the northerly, the easterly, the westerly, the highest and the lowest point of Mallorca in 3 days. About 370 odd kilometers in 3 days, basically. So pretty hardcore, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. I've been training for the last sort of 3 or 4 months. So getting towards the end, because it's May the 15th, 16th and 17th. Dinner went out Saturday afternoon. I am going down a road that is a road it's in Santa Ponsa. People who live here will know Santa Ponsa. The main road has been cut up for virtually the whole of the winter. They're doing a whole new sort of promenade thing down in the main drag of Santa Ponsa. And so I moved my bike to the pavement because the pavement has been beautifully tarmacked, whereas the road hasn't. The road's bumpy as hell. Do you know what I mean? So obviously keeping my way out of pedestrians. There was not actually. Well, I didn't even pass one pedestrian on that particular piece of pavement. It was black, the pavement, and then I noticed 2 guys working on something. What I didn't notice was they had a black cable that was running across the pavement, and I hit the black cable and literally totaled myself.
Okay.
And ended up in a wall. Ended up in a wall in a heap, of course. They came running over and said, "Are you okay? You okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I looked at my arm. My arm was like really badly grazed. My knee was really badly done. My calf had gone. And then they said to me, "Oh no, hang on a minute, look at your finger." And I looked at my finger on my left hand, and it was completely, well, not completely, but it was facing in virtually the wrong direction. The bike, weirdly enough, the bike was all right. Obviously, I took the whole.
The bike's made of stronger stuff than you, Rich. Obviously, isn't it? Carbon fibre,
or it cushioned itself on me. Basically, that's what it did.
So,
and then,
I mean, do you think the universe is telling you, Rich, to kind of, just relax a little bit and not do these things?
No. Listen, mate, I should know my limitations by now. To be perfectly honest, you know what I mean? I'm getting on to nearly 60, and I should really know. But listen, it was for charity, and
I get it, mate. I get it. I mean, it's a good idea, but listen, I hope you're going to do something from afar now for the charity, aren't you?
Well, I say the funny thing, we eventually ended up in hospital, X-rays and everything else. The doctor said, "I don't think your finger's broken. I think it's dislocated, but let me check." Had the X-ray, came back in again, and he walked in. He said, "Yeah, as I thought, it's dislocated. It's not actually broken." He said, "But let me just check one more time." And as I put my hand up to him, he grabbed my finger, bang, and put it straight back in again. And I was like, let's just say industrial language is used. That's what I'm going to say, Mark.
That's what they do. They come up and do it when you...
sneakily.
Yeah, very good.
And
Rich,
listen, Rich, the pain was horrendous. But anyway, it is what it is, Mark.
Where there's blame, there's a claim, Rich. So surely you're taking legal action against
the... No. It was solely my fault.
Good luck with that.
I should have noticed the cable. It was my fault. So there you go. So that was it. So that's me, unfortunately, out of being able to do this. Can I say a big thank you to my sponsors, because I've been looked after by a cycling company called Liberty Sport. They gave me my bike. Bonanza, who've very kindly given me a massage every week because of my training. Lauren, the Mallorca physio, who's basically stretched my hamstrings, or tried to stretch my hamstrings every week as well. And also Nikki, who's been a nutritionist from Next Level. She's looked after me with lots of products and sort of told me how to eat and drink and everything else. And my nephew Josh, who built the website for me as well. So all very, very helpful. And also the people that had already donated, because obviously it was a charity thing. I was getting people donated. I spoke to everybody that donated so far, and all of them, because this was also going towards our radiothon that we do every year. 36-hour live broadcast. All the money was going towards the radiothon. So all the money, everybody has said, please just pass it on to the radiothon, as you were going to do anyway. And they're quite happy, which was great. So a big thank you to everybody that sponsored me so far. All that money will go towards the radiothon that we do at the beginning of June.
Well, fantastic. Well, that was Richie Pryor in a lesson of why use 100 words when 1,000 words will do. Well done, Rich. I like
exactly.
That.
There you go.
Hey, listen,
actually, by the way,
never one for brevities, are Richie?
Who's your mate that tells you that my banter's no good and yours is? How much did you pay him to say that?
Good mate of mine, Mark Reeves. I know. Listen, give him a special mention because he listens every week. He's one of our regular listeners. I mean, I think he's got a point, Richard. Your banter does stink, mate. Let's face it. He's not the first to mention it, and he won't be the last, will he? Let's face it.
Yeah, but listen, let's just say I'm growing old gracefully, unlike your good self, Mark.
Well, listen, I've got no intention of growing old gracefully, mate. They're gonna have to drag me out kicking and screaming, Rich. They really are. Anyway, exactly. After that monologue from our friend Richie, this is obviously, of course, Talking Balearics, which is our weekly podcast about culture, news, and things that are happening across the greatest islands in the world, the Balearic Islands, of course. So, Rich, what have you got for me this week, please?
I've got a Jet2 story, another Jet2 story, actually, talking about the subject you brought up about the passport situation. Also going to talk about the boat show because it's a huge thing here.
Yeah, I love the boat show, Rich.
This coming week here in Palma. And I'm actually going to touch on cycling as well, actually.
Oh, okay.
Although it wasn't not my favourite subject right now, as you can imagine, but I am going to touch on cycling and, of course, a little bit around Mallorca at the end.
Of course, Rich. Now, listen, I've got my three items. Got some interesting news about airlines. A little report came out this week about the Balearic Islands, which I'm going to touch on. I've got some news about the West End. We all know about the West End, San Antonio and Ibiza. It's a political hot potato. We all often compare it to your place. Is it what's it called, Punta Ballena, and you're in Magaluf. So an interesting little item of news this week. And also, Rich, we talk about the luxury end of the market. In fact, you did a blog about it this week, didn't you, Rich? So which I really enjoyed. A report came out, a bit of an obscure publication, but I managed to read it, and it's some very interesting reading because it puts Ibiza and Mallorca in a place where maybe a few years ago we never imagined it would be. And I'm being a bit vague, but I don't want to give the game away. So they're my three items this week, Rich, and looking forward to sharing them.
All right, well, I'm going to touch on cycling first because obviously that was my first.
Is it going to be a bit of a shorter segment than your accident? No, okay, mate.
An interesting one. I don't know how much you have much cycling in Ibiza, Mark. Is it?
Yeah, we do actually, Rich. We obviously nothing compared to what you get in Mallorca. I always say to my friends, Rich, three big sports in Spain. First is football, second basketball, third cycling. You can't get away from it. It's here, and we do 2 or 3 big cycling events a year, mate.
Yeah, well, we had a big cycling event called the Mallorca 312 last weekend. And obviously, cyclists, particularly for maybe residents, people that live here, sometimes they complain about them, they hog the road, etc., etc., etc. But I think when like most things, you have to take stock of what they actually bring to the island and everything else. And there was a report from the Hotel Association in Playa de Moro that says the first Mallorca 312 had 200 cyclists. The one that's just gone last weekend was 8,500 cyclists.
Wow.
So, and the head of the Hotel Association said that 99% of all beds in Playa de Mora and surrounding areas were actually full of the cyclists who were competing in the event or relatives or friends of the people that were competing in the event last weekend. So cycling does, without a doubt, bring in a lot more than people think. People think that cyclists just go out on their bike, they go back to the hotel, they eat and sleep in the hotel, they get up the next morning, they cycle again. No, a lot of cyclists do go out to eat. Yeah, they don't eat what you and I probably eat, but they still go out and eat. They still drink. And they like a drink, to be honest with you. The cyclists, they love a coffee, like a coffee stop on their cycle as well. So it does bring in more than I think people think, and more than I think people appreciate. People out there probably listening now are going, yeah, but they hog the road and they don't, But listen, we've all got to live here. They've got a right to be here as much as we have. Do you know what I mean? And if they're, in my opinion, if they're bringing in stuff for the island, and particularly this is winter stuff as well.
Yeah, this is low season, Rich. I mean, low season tourism. This is what it's all about.
Yeah,
isn't
exactly,
it?
Mike. Exactly, low season. If that is the game, then I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
I've been one for the last 4 months. I understand, and I understand it from the cyclist point of view now. You know how bad cyclists are treated on the roads and everything else. So I get it, and listen, from as far as I'm concerned, the more the merrier.
Yeah, no, Rich. I mean, it's an important point here because where do we start and where do we end with this? What is good tourism? What is positive tourism? At the end of the day, I would say anything low season, we have to put on special events because that's the only way you're going to get these people over. We have the Vuelta Ibiza, which is in October. I think it's the first week of October. Exactly the same as it sounds very similar to what you do on the 312 there, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
It brings in thousands of people. We have some famous cyclists come over. It just ups the whole area, doesn't it, Rich? You know, it gives it that little bit of fama, which is fame or image, isn't it, in English? And it just gives us another string to our bow. So I'm all over it. I know cycling is really important to the Mallorca economy as well in general, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you go back a few years, Sky, you remember Sky had its own cycling team. Yep. The base was actually in the north of Mallorca, you know. Yep. So we get, obviously, celebrity cyclists here. I mean, I know I'll say Mark Crossley then. No, he's a Nottingham Forest goalkeeper.
There's a great impression of Lord Brian Clough as well.
He does a brilliant impression of Brian Clough, actually, Mark Crossley. He does. I'm thinking of Mark
Cavendish.
Mark Cavendish, thank you. And I met Mark Cavendish, actually. I should have
he's a Manx man, isn't he?
From the Isle of Man. Yeah, from the Isle of Man. Yeah, he is. Yeah. That's true, actually. So a lot of famous cyclists come here and compete. Obviously, we've got the velodrome here as well, in the centre of Palma, for the cyclists that cycle indoors doing the velodrome stuff as well. So it's a massive important part. And even what I would class as the cycle ride I was doing, they've got 100 participants in the 6 points challenge. So it is very popular. I have no problem with it. I just say, listen, we just have to suck it and see. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think it's even a case of suck it and see, Rich. It's bums on seats early season. We're talking April, and also, I think we mentioned it last week. I've never seen such a busy April. I think you said the same over there.
No, totally.
I mean, the weather's helped. Don't get me wrong, Rich. The weather has helped a lot. But I just think, all these little things, the IMS for us last week, the cycling race for you, it's all about events early season. We know that June, July, August, September are going to take care of themselves. They always do. The whole world wants to go on holiday, but low season, you have to give them a reason to come over, and that's it. Now, talking about bums on seats, Rich, an interesting report's come out this week about airlines and the summer demand, and it's shaping up to be a massive summer for the Balearics and Ibiza, and obviously Mallorca as well. We're very similar like that. Basically, there's 48 million flight seats into the Balearics this summer, Rich. Can you believe that? And 10 million of those are coming to Ibiza. It's a record. Incredible, really, when you look at these numbers. Now, what's interesting, Rich, is we're seeing a shift. There's actually fewer flights, but bigger planes. Can you believe that? Which basically means putting more passengers onto each aircraft. It's a move driven largely by economics. Fuel costs remain high. Obviously, operational pressures haven't gone away, and the airlines are looking to maximise. So for travellers, it doesn't sound like a big change, but it will have an impact because it's fewer flight options at certain times and less flexibility, and possibly higher tickets prices, which we all know is coming, Rich, don't we, because of the problems in the war. However, I will say, having gone to Dublin last week for 40 quid return, I think you can pick and choose, can't you? And looking where the visitors coming from, the UK still dominates Ibiza's international market. Obviously, Italy, France, Netherlands, and Germany there as well. Interestingly, Germany is going in the opposite direction for Balearics. There's a decline in capacity as they're shifting to other Mediterranean destinations, which is interesting as well. So, and obviously Spain remains our key market, whether we like it or not. So what does it all mean? Well, the headline is simple. Ibiza is heading into another very, very busy summer. Demand is there. Connectivity is strong, and airlines are clearly confident in the market. But there's obviously a shift happening, and I just think the numbers are incredible, Rich. 48 million seats across the Balearics. I mean, what do you think about that?
Obviously, I've read that. I think I'm right in saying that EasyJet, TUI, and Jet2 have all come out and said there won't be extra surcharges on fuel this summer. Yeah, they say they're okay for a certain amount of time. I think BA about the only ones that have come out and said they may well put surcharges on fuel. There's a lot of companies out there sort of saying, you need to book earlier.
Funny that, isn't it? God, talk about marketing, God almighty.
Yeah, totally. That's what I said to someone this morning. As you mentioned it on the radio this morning, I said, that's just them trying to get their bottom line up at this particular moment in time, which is interesting. But I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we said we are pretty much Central Europe, as we're 2 hours from pretty much every European destination. So we are what I would call right now a perfect destination for anybody coming away on holiday. And, we're not a 4-hour flight to the Canaries. We're a 2-hour flight. We're not a 6-hour flight to New York. We're not an 11-hour flight to the Caribbean. Those are the flights that are going to get pulled back, without a doubt. A 2-hour skip to, from London down to Mallorca is not going to get pulled because, it will be load factors as well. I don't know if you saw Lufthansa have pulled about 20,000 flights. I could guarantee you the flights they pulled were the flights they'd hardly sold.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Rather than any others. So
the flight operators, and they're just using this as an excuse to cool the herd, aren't they, really?
Exactly.
And also, Rich, last time I think we had a flight surcharge, which I can't remember when was it? Was it COVID? I can't remember when we had a flight surcharge. I don't think it was ever more than a tenner, was it, for the short haul operation? So,
well, don't forget we've had quite a big tax hike already from the government here in the UK. They have the air passenger duty tax went up, didn't it? If you remember, and that was quite sort of about a 30 or 40 quid hike. So that was quite heavy for the airlines already. So they're in a situation where they don't want to raise prices too high, otherwise people just aren't going to come away. That's going to be the other problem. And then what you will find is that everybody says, "Oh, everybody's doing the staycation," and then all their prices will go up as well. It's a never-ending wheel, and it'll keep turning. But I think at the moment, I think we're going to be in for a busy season. We know it.
Listen, absolutely. If there's anything to go by so far, it's going to be an amazingly busy season. The irony of it is, Rich, the petrol at the pumps here in Ibiza has never been so cheap. Because they've cut the VAT. They've cut the VAT, haven't they?
The VAT from 21 down to 10%.
To 10%. And so I paid $1.45 for a litre yesterday, and I think 3 or 4 weeks ago I was paying $1.80 something. So the irony is the war is meaning that we get cheaper petrol.
No, but listen, love or hate the Spanish government, they do in times of strife. Sometimes they do good things. Pedro Sanchez is not known for doing good things. Let's be honest. Neither of us are fans.
As long as it's for himself,
obviously he realises this is a vote winner for him, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the strife that they're in, but interesting enough, I'm interested to see if the government put pressure on AENA. This is sort of another subject I wanted to talk about today. Like the Greek authorities have done, they've actually basically taken out the EES. I think it's called the EES. The passport
entry-exit system, Rich.
Yeah, they've basically taken it out for all travellers. We did touch on this last week, I know. Steve Heapy, who's the big boss of Jet2, has reaffirmed that he would like to see other countries follow in their suit, of which Spain. There is talk that Spain may go down that route as well.
Is this your second segment, Rich? Or
yeah.
We've gone straight into it, haven't we? Yeah.
I segued from a busy summer into the fact that obviously if it's a busy summer, it's going to be busy at airports, it's going to be busy through passport control, and it would be daft for us to actually throw that all away with people having to wait more than their flight time to try and get through passport control.
Your segue was that good. I didn't even know you did it.
There you go. You see that's the difference between you and me, Mark. You might have all the funnies. I know how to segue.
Well, listen, you're a professional radio DJ, Rich.
What more can you say?
I can't compete with that. We talked about it last week in detail, but I think it will happen. I got an update from my insider. I've got a great insider at the airport. I've got to tell you, and I can't reveal my sources. They're having meetings almost daily at the airport. There's no plans to change yet, but it's coming, Rich. You can feel it. It's going to happen. Once the big headline in the UK saying people are going to Greece rather than Spain because of the EES, you watch the Balearics and the Canaries follow, because we just can't take that chance, can we?
No, without a doubt. They should have brought it in the winter, when they had an opportunity to actually Are you suggesting for 1 minute this is bad planning and bad foresight by the Spanish? We all know, Mark. We all know they don't plan for anything. That's the point.
Lastminute.com, the Spanish are rich. Yeah. I resemble that remark.
Yeah, elultimominuto.com, Mark. That's what it is.
No, yeah, exactly. No, it's going to happen, Rich, and I'm convinced of it. I don't know if you read my Facebook feed sometimes, but I put it on there, and I get all these comments like, "Well, I came through the airport last week and it was fine. I was there 5 minutes." I'm like, "Yes, it's the 23rd of April, mate. Let's see how it goes on the 1st of June or the 1st of July. And the first chaotic day at the airport, there's going to be a crisis meeting and things will change."
Can I just add something, actually, because this happened to me over the weekend, funny enough. It is to do with airports and everything else.
Was this before or after the accident, by the way?
This was before the accident. So
right.
This was before I had to take my dog to the vets because he had a bad day as well. So my Saturday was absolutely ruined, Bart. So it was ruined a second time by the fact that my son had found out that he was playing in Mallorca on Sunday. He wasn't due to play. The coach decided to put him in the first team. So all of a sudden, I don't have a flight. You know, we get these flight certificates to enable us to get our 75% reduction on our flights. I didn't have one. So I hot-footed it down to the Tourist Information Service to find out that their intranet system was down and I couldn't download one. So she did say, well, you could go online and do it. And then all of a sudden she went, oh no, hang on a minute, that system's down as well. So the whole system, so whether I went to a police station, whether I went to the tourist office, or even when I went online, the whole system was down, which meant that I couldn't actually fly. Well, I could have flown to Mallorca, but it would have been about €250 each way because that's what I was being quoted. Word to the wise, get yourself, if you're going to fly any time in the next 6 months, a bit like your passport really, get yourself one of those certificates done now when you get the opportunity, because otherwise it could be very frustrating.
West End of San Antonio, Richie.
Mm-hmm.
If I say that, listen, you're old in the tooth, aren't you? Or, sorry, long in the tooth. So I say old in the face, long in the tooth. You're getting it today, mate, aren't you?
Yeah.
Again.
Your mate commented again next week.
That's Reevesy. That's Reevesy going on. He's given me the impetus to go at you again. If I say to you, Rich, I mean, you've been to Ibiza, San many times. If I say the West End of San Antonio to you, what do you think? What's the first immediate thought that comes into your mind?
Well, it's Party Street.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, I would say that. However, it's diminishing. It really is. Just like the Punta Ballena. Again, go back to your blog at the weekend, Rich, when you talked about Street Angels, which we talked about last week. They're at the coalface every night. They see it more than we ever do. And just like 24/7 over here tells me that it's quieting down in San Antonio, it's quieting down over there, isn't it? It's just the way of the world. It's an organic change. But what the local government are doing now, when I say the local government, I mean the San Antonio Council, they are buying up properties and knocking them down, right? Yeah, exactly. Which the Taish, the Hotel Taish, which, for example, let me just explain this. In San Antonio West End, there's a really great bar there called Shenanigans Highlander, an Irish and a Scottish bar next to each other. And there's the old Tropicana's, which is now called Millennia, I think, where my son did a bit of a party a couple of weeks ago. A bit of a punt for him. It's there. And opposite, there was this big old house called the Tunis. They bought that and knocked it down. And that's where they it's where they painted the street, and that was the kind of reception area for the mural on the street by Acuda San Miguel. Opposite that used to be China Whites back in the day. I can't remember some other badly branded product. And basically, the local council have bought that, Rich. €2.5 million they've paid for it, which is the same owner of the Tunis. So he's having a ball, isn't he?
So you can now find him in Barbados.
Yeah, well, I know who it is. I won't mention his name. He's an old West End bar owner. A nice guy, actually, good family. But so they've bought this locale for €2.5 million, and they're knocking it down, Rich, really. And I think this is really positive because you've got these old locales which they're all banged up. They're painted on, they're graffitied on. They are knocking them down. They're going to open up the whole area. The reason they've said this time, Rich, because we've talked about this new boulevard from the West End all the way to the Sunset Strip where Cafe Mamba and Cafe Del Mar is. It's the start of it, and they've said, listen, if we knock that down, it opens it up. It's like the Yellow Brick Road. Follow the Yellow Brick Road, knock it all down, and you'll follow it there. And I think it's a great move. I hope they keep doing it, Rich, because we're not talking about going concerns here. We're talking about derelict buildings. So if there's a derelict building there, buy it, knock it down and open the space up, because I think it can only be good. And also, it's better environment for the bars that are existing there. It's not doing any harm to the area. I think it's elevating the area, and it just makes it spacious. A bit like Punta Ballena, sometimes you feel hemmed in, Rich. Remember, when you're walking down that street, you feel a bit claustrophobic. You've got PRs over you. You've got people walking up and down. I think this will just amplify the area, and I think it's a really good move.
I'm hearing on the QT that obviously the first line, as we call it, the first line, which is the beachfront, basically, obviously we know is beautiful along Magaluf and Palma Nova. It's the second and third lines that obviously need looking at. And I'm hearing that there's going to be a lot more of that, Mark, a lot more of property buying or converting possibly into housing, which I know you mentioned a few weeks ago as well, which I think is a great idea. But I think, in the next sort of 5 years, you're not going to be able to recognise Magaluf, and obviously it sounds like San Antonio going down. Yeah,
no, I think it's a great initiative, Rich, and also they're using the tourist tax, which is something me and you have banged on about for a long time.
And sorry, just to butt him up, but they're also using European funds as well.
So it's
not coming from us, the taxpayer.
It's the same model over here as well. So you've obviously got the Calvia and the San Antonio governments singing from the same song sheet.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds like it.
I mean, I think there must be some information being passed because and so they should, by the way, because we've both suffered from the bad reputation over years, and they're going, well, listen, we're going to change it. We're going to take positive action. So the second and third line over here, Rich, as well. But it's really coming together. I mean, me and you, we're massively pro San Antonio. We're massively pro Magaluf, and I just think it's just coming together in a great way. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree. Palma Boat Show, Mark.
I don't often listen to what you've got to say, Rich, but I'm all ears today, mate. I know you're welcome, mate. You're welcome.
Yeah,
I'm all ears. I'm all ears,
like
mate.
The thousands of others that do. But anyway, the Palma Boat Show is actually one of the biggest boat shows in the world. I sort of done a bit of sort of looking at this and seeing where we sort of come in, what people would see as boat shows and where you go. The number one boat show is Monaco. That's where everybody seems to think is the best. Fort Lauderdale comes in at number 2, Dusseldorf at number 3, and all these boat shows have something different to offer. But this is how they've graded them. Cannes at number 4, 5 is Dubai, 6 is Miami, 7th is Genoa in Italy, and Palma comes at number 8.
It's not bad company though, Rich, is it? Let's face it.
No. When you put those all together, and then you've got number 9 is London, the London Boat Show, and number 10 is Palm Beach. So those are the sort of top 10 boat shows. I mean, obviously, people might put them in different orders and everything else, but those are the top 10. Palma Boat Show starts tomorrow. Everybody's setting up right now. They've been setting up for the last few days. We, as a radio station, are going down there. We're with a company called Warren Maritime tomorrow. We're doing a live show between 10 and 1, a show between 1 and 4. And then on Friday, with a company called Naughty Parts, we're doing a live show from 10 to 1, and then from 4 until 8 as well. And if you've not been to the boat show before, well, it's an all singing, all dancing, basically anything you want to know about the boating fraternity, then come down. You need obviously you can pay to get in, but if you've got a pass, you can get a pass to go around. And all manners of, obviously from super yachts all the way down to your little boats, and from engines through to there's absolutely anything you could think about of boats has been included. It's a great thing. We sort of really probably got myself ensconced in it over the last couple of years.
All the Balearic Islands are just so amazing for boating, aren't they? And Palma is the gold standard. Just looking at it, Rich, there's 310 exhibitors there this
That's
year.
Right.
And over 600 boats, of which 275 are in the water. So, if you're a boatie like me, this is heaven, isn't it? It really is. And,
no, totally. And
you're going to get princes. You're going to get princes and paupers there. You're going to get people like me and you walking around thinking, I'm definitely going to buy one of those next year. You're going to get the serious, and you're going to get the serious players walking around going, actually, I might spend $5 million on that Sunseeker over there. So, I think it's a great string to the bow, mate. It really is. And,
I agree.
And again, it's low season, Rich, isn't it? You're talking,
exactly.
These events are just lining up, aren't they? You've got the cycle race one week, you've got the boat show the next week. I mean, it's perfectly positioned, great time of year, and just before the boating season. So get your checkbook out, Richie. Which one are you going to buy? I want to know which one you're going to buy when you get there.
My old boss used to say to me, there's two great days, the day you buy a boat and the day you sell a boat. Well, and the rest of it in between, forget it.
Richie, listen, you don't have to tell me I'm having serious boat issues at the moment, but let's save that for another day. You've got to have very deep pockets if you've got a boat, Rich.
Yeah, I agree.
As well.
I agree.
Now, talking of luxury end of the market, Rich, this is my segue today because I read a report today which is very interesting indeed, because obviously the super yacht market, which Mallorca and Ibiza, Formentera and Menorca are very much part of these days. We've got a booming property market as well, haven't we, in the Balearics? I was reading this report. Now, if I would say to you, Cascais, do you know where Cascais is?
In Mallorca or in?
No, it's not, mate. It's in It's in Portugal.
Oh, right. Portugal, yes. No, actually, when you said it like that,
sorry,
I've been there. I went there. I stayed there.
Cascais. How would you say it?
Cascais, yeah. It's just outside Lisbon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but basically, it's where the super wealthy live, isn't it? In Portugal, it's
a lovely part.
It's basically the Beverly Hills of Portugal, or should we say the Malibu of Portugal? So And reading about the luxury property market now, the four big ones, the four hot ones at the moment are, or the five big ones, should we say, is Maui, obviously in Hawaii. That's got a massive luxury market. You got Miami. You got Miami, which goes, hand in hand, which is where all the golfers live on private islands, and it's got an amazing waterway. You've got Cascais, which is obviously Portuguese, which is where the European wealth goes because the tax is quite low over there. And the other two, guess where the other two are, Rich? Go on.
Well, you're probably going to say Mallorca and Ibiza then.
I am going to say exactly that, Mallorca and Ibiza, because it's been described as a shift to generational wealth, really. So basically what they're doing is they're looking at the luxury end of the market. They're looking at these 5 destinations, and Ibiza and Mallorca are right up there with these destinations. So first and foremost, they're on the water, which we know islands are desirable destinations, but also there's a limited supply, which is pushing prices up. And also, This is where it gets really interesting, this report, Rich, because secondly, there's a global demand for these places. So we often talk about, we're talking about Magaluf and San Antonio, small towns that were 35, 40 years ago, small little fishing or agricultural towns. Now there's global demand for this product. There really is. So it just shows you the way that the Balearics are going on to a whole different market. They really are. At the end of the day, Rich, we probably don't realize, because we live on the inside sometimes, the way we are viewed from the outside world. And I think I know, because when I mention Ibiza when I'm in Australia or anywhere like that, everyone just goes, wow, that's an amazing place. But it's been recognized now as really the luxury end of the property market is exactly where we are, which, listen, let's face it, and this is where we have to play devil advocate, it's good and bad. Yeah, it's great being at the top end, but that just means that people are being squeezed at the other end as well. That's why there's more people leaving the island as well. There's more people living in shanty towns. But you can't stop the market, Rich, and the global demand is the global demand, and that's where we are. So we should look at it as a positive. And if you were like me and you bought property many, many years ago, we're on the right side of the fence, aren't we?
Lucky enough, we are, Mark. Yes, we are, most definitely. Should we talk around Mallorca?
You've got nothing to add to that. I mean, I know you're a property guy these days, Rich, so I thought you might come in with a bit of global demand.
Interesting enough, you mentioned Cascais. I did go there a couple of years ago in Portugal. Beautiful, by the way. I didn't actually find it that expensive. I thought it was actually quite reasonable compared to where I am in Mallorca. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny because I've never heard of it. I did a bit of research on it today, and I was like, right, okay. I mean, Portugal, you can still get some good deals over there, Rich, and a lot of people I know move from Spain to Portugal because they have better conditions over there. They lend you more money. They want your business more than Spain wants your business. But Ibiza, Mallorca, we are now rubbing shoulders with the top areas of the world, not just Europe. Right, Real Mallorca, Rich, far away, because this isn't going to be good, is it?
Bit of a disaster, really, to be honest with you. We're 1-0 up at half-time against Alaves, one of our sort of relegation rivals, playing very well, scored an absolute worldie. Vachili scored an absolute worldie goal. And then it all fell apart in the second half. For what reason, I don't know, unfortunately. And we lost by 2-1. Elche got a great result over the weekend as well, which means that we are in 17th place. We are 1 point clear of relegation. Levante drew last night away at Espanyol. So it looks like Oviedo are down now. They've got 28 points. I think, it's 5 games to go. They're 7 points away from 8 points, away from
safety.
Not getting away from relegation. Exactly.
Yep.
And then you've got Levante on 33, Sevilla on 34. Those are the 3 teams now in relegation. Mallorca on 35, Alaves on 36, Girona on 36, Elche on 38, and Espanyol on 39. Oh, actually, 3 teams on 39. Rayo, Valencia, and Espanyol. Obviously, we've played 2 of those teams, didn't lose to either of them. Our next game is Girona this coming Friday, which is the team just above us. So we need to get a result at Girona. We've then got Villarreal, Getafe, Levante, and Real Oviedo in our last few games. So,
mate.
It's going to be fun time, as we call it.
You needed a point at the weekend at least, didn't you, Rich? But not just that to stop them, because they've leapfrogged you, and all of a sudden they've gone from relegation contenders to looking quite safe. That's in 1 game, mate. So I mean,
no, exactly. It's as I say, all the way up to 11th. We are 4 points away from 11th place. Do you know what I mean? Which is mad when you think about it. So, yeah, it's going to be a difficult game. Girona just above us. If we can beat them, then we go above them in 15th. But it's going to be difficult, Mark. It's not going to be easy now. We've put pressure back on ourselves, where we didn't really need to. But let's see.
He's done well. He's done well, though, hasn't he? Rich? He's done
exactly.
well. What was the feedback from the weekend, Rich? Did you play well, or what? I haven't seen the game.
No, we played really well in the first half and was commanding the game, and then second half just all fell apart, really. Right. And I don't really know the reason why. It was just a bit, just a bit strange. I just don't know. So it's a difficult place to go, Alaves, at any time. The crowd are very vociferous. So, but let's see. Every crowd now is going to be vociferous all the way to the end of the season, because they'll put special deals on to fill a stadium in order to get the atmosphere going. So, everybody's going to have the same situation in that particular area. Let's see. But our away form. Well, it was official that we are officially the worst away team in La Liga. So,
well, you've been saying that all season anyway, haven't you, Rich? So,
yeah, yeah. Let's see how we get on against Girona.
Listen, I very rarely bring my team up, Rich, but I don't know what's happened, because 2 weeks ago, Derby County were dead and buried, but we seem to be on the cusp.
I saw that, actually,
everything went our way. Everything went against Mallorca this weekend, but everything went in Derby's direction this weekend. So this Saturday last game of the season, we are in with a shout at the playoffs, which I would find amazing, Rich. But obviously we've got Hull and Wrexham above us, but they both lost at the weekend. And we're at home to Sheffield United on Saturday, so 1:30 local kickoff for us here, or 12:30 in the UK. So I haven't really spoke about Derby much, but I can't believe we're there or thereabouts, because, as I said 2 weeks ago, we were dead and buried. So massive weekend. We need the other teams. I think Wrexham are playing Borough, and Middlesbrough need to win to have any chance of automatic promotion, and Hull are playing awfully. So, you never know. You've got to keep believing, haven't you, Rich? So, fingers crossed, and a big shout out to all my fellow Rams fans out there. Let's hopefully we've got some good news this time next week, Rich. And I'm booking my tickets back for the playoffs.
Obviously, tomorrow is the Champions League. We were going to go to Madrid to see Arsenal play Madrid, but we decided not to go. We've decided to go back to London and try and anybody out there's got any tickets for next week's Arsenal Atletico Madrid game. I'm willing to hear from you.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, Rich. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm swimming in the wind a little bit, to be honest with you. But we're going to go back.
Put a GoFundMe site up, Rich. Please make our dreams come true.
I'm speaking to our good friend, Mr. Tobin.
Yeah. He'll have tickets, but it just depends on the price. It's as simple as that.
Exactly. So yeah, we're going to go back. I said to the boys, look, let's just go back. If we get a ticket, we get one, we get two, we get three, whatever. If we don't get any, we can go and watch it at a pub around the corner. If we win, we can go back to the stadium, have a bit of a laugh around the stadium. So, well, let's see. They
often come up last minute, Rich. So you've got to be there to actually get a ticket. So
no, exactly. I've said, well, we're actually around the stadium, so it could be lastminute.com as well. So let's see.
Perfect. Okay, Richard.
Right,
good. Listen, sorry to see all those injuries on you. Well, you've got a bandage on your right arm. Yeah, good. You've got a bandage on your left. No, you've got your finger in a splint.
Fingers together. Yeah.
Listen, Rich.
I might show you my knee, but anyway,
well, listen, you're not a teen. I know you think you're a teenager, Rich, but you ain't a teenager anymore.
Well, there you go. So,
it's the universe telling you something there, Rich. It really is. So, All right, matey. Good to speak to you as always.
Thank you, Mark. Take care.
Have a good week. I'll speak to you soon.
See you soon. Take care.
Make me dance.